Hey, welcome to Coaching the Cowboys, episode 7. So, last time we talked, it's been about a week and a half, maybe a week since I've actually given an update. We were sitting at 2-3, lost the first 3 games. In week 2, we lost Dak Prescott, turned the game over to Cooper Rush, try to see if he could save us. And we had 2 big wins against the Saints and Texans, and we were about to play the Eagles, kind of a make or break game of our season. So we knew that we had to play the game of our life to even stay in the running. And you can see here, we actually pulled out a victory, 16-13, scoring a field goal on the last play as time ran out. So that was a huge game, and we were able to hold the Eagles' rushing game to around 30 yards rushing, which we thought we had everything figured out. We got some things on defense, and we went and played the high-powered Lions, who are sitting, I think, for the first wild card spot right now. I think they've lost 3 games all season. And our defense was lights out. They only allowed 3 points, which is pretty much unheard of. But our offense was still struggling. We had Cooper Rush. He couldn't get the ball. He couldn't get the scores. But that win was huge for us. And so we felt pretty good. We'd actually pulled ahead and went to 4-3 on the season. And then we faced possibly the number 1 or number 2 ranked team in the NFC, the Buccaneers. And Cooper Rush had a nightmare game. I think he's thrown 12 or 13 interceptions all season, and 6 were in this game. It was just terrible. We actually started this game out with a, I think, 10-0 lead or something like that. Maybe it's 9-0 something. I can't remember exactly. But then it just came on. We gave up 20 points in the second quarter. There's no coming back from that. And they just piled it on. The Bucs were a much better team than us. So that kind of brought us back down to earth. But then we were able to play the Falcons, get a big win. Played the Giants. Getting a division win's always big. That was nice. And then the game that really made us feel good was playing the Jaguars. This game was ugly in so many ways. Defensively, we both kind of struggled moving the ball, got a few lucky scores. I had a lead, and then they came back. Almost tied the game. I got a blocked field goal or extra point that kind of swung the momentum in this game about mid-third quarter. So we're feeling good. We hadn't given up much rushing yards. We felt really good about our rushing attack. And then the Washington Redskins come to town. So we're feeling good. We know they're a running team. Not too worried about their passing threat that much. I mean, they got a decent quarterback. He can hit you with the short little dump passes and stuff like that when people are playing the run. So we thought for sure we were going to have the run on lockdown. But then Mr. Thomas Rawls came in and gave us a eye-opening experience here. If you look in this game, he had almost 250 yards rushing on 16 carries, 15-yard average. So that was an embarrassment to our defense. So we've got to look at some game tape and probably should have made some halftime adjustments because he had a lot of yards at half. I didn't. We're going to flip our defensive tackles or bring in our backups. We're going to do something because we lost both games to the Redskins this year. And so in a minute you see how tight the NFC East is. It's probably going to come back to bite us. I think we beat the Redskins twice last year. They beat us twice this year. So now we got to revamp and get ready for next year to play the Redskins because we can't give up that many rushing yards. So we're sitting there at 7-5, I believe, now. And what's crazy is we'll look at the NFC East divisional race real quick. This is where it gets really, really interesting. Go to standings. So the Eagles just lost this week. So the Eagles were setting ahead. They're on a 2-game skid. We're on a 1-game skid. But the hot team in the NFC East is the Redskins. And what's scary about the Redskins is they've got all their running backs healthy. I don't think they have anybody on the injured list. We'll go check all 3 teams here in a minute to kind of see how it runs out. And really, this hasn't updated this week because Redskins really are sitting atop the NFC East right now because if you go look at the division record, they've got 4 wins and 1 loss. Their only loss is to the Giants, which is an odd team. They swept the Cowboys, beat the Giants once, and then they beat the Eagles, actually, in a great game a couple weeks ago. So the next 2 weeks are going to be crazy because next week, Cowboys will play the Eagles. Redskins are going to play the powerful Jaguars. I mean, that's a tough game. So one of us is going to lose this game for sure. The loser is going to have a really tough time getting into the division. And the way the NFC is checking out, if you don't win the division, and this 5-7 is more than likely not going to get you a wild card. 10-6 would be questionable. Probably chances 50-50 chance getting in at 10-6. So there's really no room to lose a game. So we'll look at who has remaining games. But the Cowboys play the Eagles. The Eagles still play the Redskins as well. The Giants sitting down here at 3-8, they can play spoiler. I think they play a few of these teams as well. So you can see, like, points for, the Eagles are most potent offense, with the Cowboys second, but the Redskins lately turned it on. And then points against, the Cowboys have had more points scored against them than they scored. Mainly that Bucs game that we got blown out. That was a rough game. And the Eagles have got lockdown defense here, so I would have told you 2 weeks ago the Eagles had this thing on lockdown, but now after the 2-game skid with losses to the Redskins, and now they just lost to the Seahawks, which could be a team that you're going to want to battle for a wild card spot if you get in. So that's going to be interesting to see as well. The Lions are another team. So let's go look at these teams' remaining schedules just to kind of wrap up this NFC East view and kind of look and see what's out there. And then we'll kind of go back to everybody else. It's going to be exciting. So we'll start with the Eagles. So the Eagles got 4 games left. They're going to play Cowboys at home, Redskins on the road in Washington. That's going to be a tough game. They're pretty healthy. I haven't talked about it, but we lost Dak Prescott in week 2, and then a couple weeks ago in that big win against the Jags, we lost Ezekiel Elliott in the fourth quarter for the rest of the season. So that's tough. We got our number 1 firepower, number 2 firepower offense out. So the Eagles should be able to take care of business against me, but I'm going to try my best and see if my team can rally and play. My defense needs to definitely step up and not give up so much running games. And then they go to the Redskins. If we lose this game to the Eagles and they lose to the Redskins, that's going to pretty much put the Redskins in a great position. These next 2 weeks are going to really tell a lot on the NFC East. And then they go play the Texans. Savage, he's got a great team. He's got Hopkins. He could be a force to be reckoned with. This isn't an easy win, and the Colts are having a rough season as well. So, looking at this, the Eagles are probably, on paper, the favorite in every one of these 4 games. I think they're probably going to drop 1 out of the 4. So I'm betting the Eagles end up with 10-6 record. And it all depends on which one they drop in here. If they drop to the Cowboys, they're probably okay. If they drop it to the Redskins, probably not okay. Because the Redskins will have, I guess they'll be close to the same divisional record because they're both 4-1 right now. Actually, the Eagles can't be 4-1 because they've got a game. They've got 2 games. They must be 3-1 in the NFC East. So if they beat me, they'll both be 4-1. And then they'll play each other, and eventually could be. So let's go look at the Redskins real quick to see how they finish up. So they got 2 home games, 2 away games. Pretty balanced schedule, remaining schedule. And now, this is a pretty rough schedule. All 4 of these games are powerful teams. The Jags, they're fighting for the playoffs. They're a good team. I played them. I got lucky. Had a lot of breaks. But the Jags are definitely a team that's tough, and he's got to go to the Jags. But, man, that running attack for the Redskins is great, and the Jags got a great run defense, so that'll be a game to watch after the advance. Hopefully they play before I play the Eagles, take some of the edge off, because the Redskins are hot. And then they play the Eagles at home. That's nice, getting the Eagles at home to finish off. So, I mean, destiny's in their hand. And then the Panthers, they're playing pretty hot, too. They just took a loss to the Bucs, but some would say the Panthers might be the 3rd best team in the NFC. So I think they got that first wild card spot locked down. I think they've only had 3 losses all season. We'll go check that in a minute. And 2 of those are to the Bucs, when the Bucs are amazing. And then we got the New Orleans Saints, the team that's kind of like came out of nowhere and started like scoring points. They got some less turnovers. Something's clicking in New Orleans. They got something going there. Even with their quarterback went out, they still kept moving the ball. I know they struggled early on, but man, they're actually in a fighting chance to make the playoffs. So every one of these teams they're playing are playoff caliber teams. So strength of schedule, I think the Eagles have a easier strength of schedule than the Redskins. They both got 2 home games and 2 away games. So I'm giving the nod to the Eagles here, but let's go check my Cowboys and see if we got any chance at all. It's going to be rough. The schedule was really odd this year because if you look, I don't have any more home games. So I lost 2 home games. That's a no-no. You can't lose home games. I lost the first week to the Panthers. It was like a lag bowl. And then the Redskins just came in and humiliated us in Dallas. We had our chances. I made about 3 critical mistakes. The Redskins probably made maybe 1 mistake. And they capitalized on all 3 of my mistakes, and I couldn't capitalize on theirs. So that was really the game difference there. The Redskins are good. I'd love anything to play them the 3rd time this season, but that's not going to happen. We got to wait till next season. But I'm definitely going to address my defensive line for those guys. I don't know. We can put the Eagles on lockdown. So we got to go to the Eagles, which is always tough. I think I've lost to Mac 2 times last season and beat him once this season. So I've really struggled against him, and I got to stop the run. I was able to stop the run in the first week. I don't know what happened in my run defense. Maybe they were tired because we did such a good job on the run defense on the Jaguars. Let's look at that, because here we held them to 58 yards rushing, and they had the number 2 or 3 running back in the league. I think we had the 3rd or 4th, but Elliott got hurt. Neither one of us did anything, so the run defense was great. And then we go to the Giants. I struggle against the Giants, and I pulled off a bigger win earlier in the season, 38-20 against the Giants, but that score does not show how close this game was, because it was much closer than this. At the halftime, I think it was 17 or 21-13 with a few big breaks on my side, and you can see it didn't come to the 4th quarter till we pulled away, and they were able to move the ball on us. Still only 68 yards rushing. We had Elliott, so not having Elliott in the backfield is going to be tough. So we got to go to the Giants. We get to go to the Colts. The Colts are struggling, but I mean, you can't never count anybody out in the UFL. And then we got to play a really good Titans team. So I think my strength of schedule is maybe just a little bit easier than the Redskins. But the Redskins are a better team than me, obviously, because they beat me twice this season. So we definitely don't want to get into a tie record with the Redskins because they'll win the tiebreaker. If it comes down to a 3-way tiebreaker, I think I'm out of it because both of those guys will end up probably only having two losses in the division. If that's the case, maybe 1. So I could win 1 out of these 4, possibly. I could lose 3. If the Eagles lose 2, I lose 3. And then if we go back to the Redskins, if the Redskins lose 2 out of this, depending on who it is, the Redskins and the Eagles could be sitting exactly tied for the NFC East. And depending how this game shakes out, if the Eagles can win this game, that could be up to the Madden gods on who goes through. If they had the exact same divisional record, maybe it goes to point scores and the Eagles come on. So it's going to be critical. I mean, every one of these games is going to be huge to watch. And I know they're going to be broadcast. They're going to be great excitement. These guys play their games. So there's going to be no issues here with getting sim wins or sim losses. So it's going to be an exciting week to see how this NFC East finishes up. Let's go take one quick look at the league before we wrap up and kind of finish this episode of Coaching the Cowboys. Went a little longer. I want to try to keep these 10 minutes. This is at 13 now. Just do a quick rundown through the divisions. Maybe we stick to the NFC, do AFC next time. So, let's go through them all. We got time. This is great. So the AFC North, this is going to be an insane battle to the finish. We got the Steelers, the Browns, and the Bengals all seeing a half a game apiece. The Ravens are down here struggling, but man, what a divisional race. I mean, if you're not watching UFL football, you're missing out. The Titans, they got a little rough schedule. I get to play them, so maybe I can cause them. I think they probably still got to play the Jags once. I need to check that. The Jags with 5 losses, that's tough. Because right now we're sitting, that would tie with these guys. It would be ahead of these guys for the wild card because they got to win instead of a tie. So right now 7-5 would get them in the wild card unless these East teams, which I think, nope. So that is setting at the wild card. Jets seem to have this. And the AFC West, Chargers. So right now, the playoffs could be set. It could be the Raiders and Chargers, unless something falls apart. Jets look like they've got it secured. And then the Jaguars look like they got it, that wild card. Unless something happens here, they could lose and these guys could win. So I guess the Jags, the Bengals, Browns, and the Steelers are all fighting for that last wild card spot. So AFC is going to be pretty interesting as well. Let's check the NFC out real quick. So the Packers, they're a force. Gene has an insane ability to be great with terrible quarterbacks, and now he's got the best quarterback in the game. I love that he's at the Packers. I hope I get to play the Cowboys versus Packers. I love every time I play Gene. I learn like 10 new things every time we play just by watching what he's doing. So half the things I know how to do are things I picked up on games by getting my butt whipped by Gene or one of these other guys who've won Super Bowls playing Mike. I study what they do to me, and then I try to do that to other people, and sometimes I can pull it off, but not to the level they do. The Lions are on a little bit of a skid here with 8-4, but you can see they're still above that 5 loss. If the Lions lose again, that could get into the trouble, because if they tie with the Cowboys, I've got the tiebreaker on them. I'm not sure about them playing the Eagles and Redskins. We'll have to check that. But so right now, that 8-4 would get a wild card. Let's see if that sticks. I think it will. And this division's pretty much wrapped up. They're going to get first. I thought these guys played today. Maybe it desynced at the end, but I thought the Packers and Buccaneers played. Or maybe they did play, and maybe that's the result. I'll have to go back and check, because we're in Week 13, 12 games. Yeah, so maybe they did play. I have to go back and check that. So 2 losses, and I think if both of those losses are... Yeah, only losses they've incurred are to the Bucs. So the Panthers are really good. The Bucs are insanely good. I don't know who beat the Bucs. Maybe that was like a fluke game or something. Maybe they all had the flu. I have to go check that out. So right now, that 10-2, so there's only going to be really one wild card spot, and that's 7-5. Right now, the 8-4 is the one holding that wild card spot. And now my division, we kind of already talked through this ad nauseum. We know it's going to be an insane battle. Let's go look at the NFC East, the West. And so it's just like the East. You got the Seahawks, who just pulled off an amazing victory on the Eagles. You got the Cardinals, you got the Rams. So you viably could have one division winner, 2 teams here, 2 teams here. We got 4 teams. We could have 5 teams. And don't count out the Saints. The Saints are playing good football. If they run the table, I don't know, 97 probably won't do it. But they can play some spoiler, so hopefully, I know Tate will come every game, especially since he's got to play some NFC East folks. I hope he comes out hard. But I think they're out. But I think we got 5 teams fighting for that last wild card spot. The AFC, I think you got 3 teams fighting for that last wild card spot. But this is going to be a great season recap. Hoping I can do some live broadcast of the Super Bowls. Marlo started doing the lives, which are really cool. I may try to do a play-by-play style or do some commentary. I don't know. I've had a cold for like 2 months straight. It's kind of getting over with now, so maybe I'm not coughing and sniffling as much. But yeah, this is going to be a great season. Excited to play this thing out. I cannot wait to play my next game against the Eagles. I'm going to be a nervous wreck, throwing my controller around. No Dak Prescott, no Ezekiel Elliott, but we do like our quarterback, Cooper Rush. The only problem is he's limited on his passing. We got to find a few more passing. My playbook has really shrunk down. I don't feel like I'm mixing it up enough, and I think that's what really cost me on the Redskins. Is I kind of got into feeling comfortable with a couple of plays and tried to come back to them a little too much, and just I got caught and got some interceptions that I shouldn't have thrown. But we'll work on that. I got a few things. I got like 4 or 5 things I know that I need to work on. Bad thing is you don't want to work on things against division players or you're going to lose. So we'll see how much we open up the playbook with Cooper Rush or not. We'll try to get some running game. We got the offensive line, so hopefully we can put an old lady on the walker back there and she can still get a few yards. But we'll see. It all depends on the run defense. That's going to be the success of our season if we can stop the run. But this has been cool. I went a little over. I'm going to try to keep these to 10 minutes going forward. This one ended up being about 18 minutes, but this is fun. Episode 7, Coaching the Cowboys. We're in our Season 2 of this Madden, Season 32 overall. So it should be exciting to see who's going to win this and who's going to come out. It should be fun. And we'll talk to you next time. See you.